20 celebrities, same age, decades apart. One chilling number, 27. From the Mississippi Delta blues of the 1930s to the global K-pop phenomenon of the 2010s, from Hollywood icons to underground punk pioneers, the 27 Club reveals a recurring, disturbing pattern. Fame and influence, shadowed by mortality, mental health struggles, and unseen pressures that the public rarely sees. In this final chapter, we examine timelines, toxicology reports, witness accounts, industry pressures, and psychological factors, completing the forensic investigation into all 20 cases. What really connects these stars? And why does the same age keep appearing? To understand the 27 Club, we have to go back to where it all began. Not in the 1960s, not in the 1990s, but in the Mississippi Delta, in the 1930s, where a young bluesman named Robert Johnson made a deal with the devil, or so the legend goes. His story is the foundation. His death at 27 set the template for every case that followed. Let's begin at the crossroads. Robert Johnson, the Crossroads Mystery, and the origin of the 27 Club. The story of the 27 Club doesn't begin in the 1960s or 1990s. It begins in the Mississippi Delta, in the 1930s, with a young bluesman who made a deal with the devil, or so the legend goes. The story. Robert Johnson, the legendary Delta blues musician, is widely considered the symbolic origin of the 27 Club. His recordings in the 1930s laid the foundation for modern blues, rock, and even heavy metal. Artists from Eric Clapton to the Rolling Stones credit him as a primary influence. Without Robert Johnson, the sound of modern music would be unrecognizable. But Johnson's legacy is more than music. It is mystery. On August 16, 1938, he died at 27 under circumstances that remain unresolved to this day. Possible poisoning, a jilted husband, illness, or something far more elusive, the infamous crossroads myth that he sold his soul to the devil for musical genius. That legend has cemented his story as one of the most enduring in American music history. Forensic analysis reveals a blend of historical fact, folklore, and missing documentation. There were no modern toxicology reports, no formal investigation, no definitive conclusion. His death set the template for the 27 Club: early talent, immense influence, and sudden, unresolved mortality. But what really happened to Robert Johnson? Was it murder, accident, or something the history books simply ignored? A bluesman who sold his soul at the crossroads. But the next case takes us halfway around the world, where a different kind of pressure was about to claim another young star. Kim Jong-hyun, global pressure and mental health crisis. From the Mississippi Delta to the neon lights of Seoul, South Korea, the next case proves the 27 Club doesn't belong to one country or one genre. It belongs to the world. The story. Kim Jong-hyun, vocalist of SHINee, was one of K-pop's most gifted performers. Known for emotional depth, stage charisma, and lyrical intelligence, he became a global icon, connecting millions of fans across continents. His voice could move stadiums. His lyrics spoke to a generation. But behind the success were severe pressures that most fans never saw. Training from childhood, sometimes as young as 12 or 13 years old. Relentless public scrutiny. A culture of perfection where any mistake was amplified. An environment where mental health struggles could go unseen, untreated, and undiscussed. On December 18, 2017, Jong-hyun died at 27 from suicide, leaving the world to grapple with questions about fame, isolation, and the human cost of global stardom. Forensic examination shows intense industry pressure, lack of privacy, and inadequate mental health support contributed to a tragic outcome. His death sparked global conversation about the psychological costs of the music industry, a conversation that is still ongoing. Was it the pressure of fame alone? Or did the system fail him at every turn? A K-pop star crushed by the weight of global fame. But the next case takes us back to the birth of punk rock, where isolation and disconnection told a different kind of story. Dave Alexander, Isolation and Aftermath of Fame. Not every 27 Club member died in the spotlight. Some died in silence. their influence recognized only after they were gone. The story. Dave Alexander, original bassist for the Stooges, shaped early punk rock with driving bass lines and raw energy. Alongside Iggy Pop, he helped define a rebellious, enduring musical movement that would influence generations of punk and alternative rock musicians. Despite his influence, Alexander's life was marked by isolation, disconnection, and chronic health struggles. After being dismissed from the band, he faded from the public eye, his contributions forgotten, his struggles unseen. On February 10, 1975, at 27, he died of pulmonary edema linked to pancreatitis and chronic alcohol use. Unlike other 27 Club members, his death occurred largely outside the spotlight, emphasizing that the club is not only about fame, but also the silent toll of lifestyle, rejection, and isolation. Forensic analysis highlights long-term health effects, lifestyle pressures, and the hidden cost of contributing to culture without public recognition or support. His story asks a haunting question. What happens when creativity collides with vulnerability, and the world recognizes your influence only after you're gone? A punk pioneer who faded into obscurity, but the next case brings us to the modern era, where 24/7 visibility and constant pressure created a different kind of tragedy. From the birth of punk to the streets of Chicago, where a new sound was emerging, and with it, a new set of dangers. The story. Fredo Santana emerged from Chicago's drill scene as a defining voice in modern hip-hop. His music reflected real-life struggles, violence, poverty, survival, resonating with fans globally who saw their own lives reflected in his lyrics. Behind the success, however, was a growing health crisis linked to substance use. The pressures of modern fame, the constant touring, the 24/7 visibility of social media, it never stopped. Every move was watched. Every mistake was amplified. On January 19, 2018, at 27, Santana died from complications related to liver and kidney failure. Forensic analysis highlights the intersection of modern fame, substance use, and industry pressure. Unlike historical cases, Santana's story reflects the always-on culture of contemporary music, where pressures never pause and health risks are constant. His death serves as a contemporary chapter in the evolution of the 27 Club, a warning that the dangers of fame have not disappeared, they have only changed form. A modern hip-hop star lost to the pressures of always-on fame. But the next case takes us back to the 1960s, where a different kind of slow decline was unfolding, one that didn't happen overnight, but over years. Ron "Pigpen" McKernan, The Slow Decline and the Cost of Excess. Not every 27 Club tragedy happens in a flash. Some unfold slowly, year after year, until one day, there's nothing left. The story. Ron "Pigpen" McKernan, founding member of the Grateful Dead, was central to early psychedelic and blues rock. Known for powerful stage presence and deep blues influence, he helped define the band's formative identity during the 1960s counterculture movement. Yet his life was marked by long-term alcohol use and health decline that his bandmates watched with growing concern. The touring never stopped. The lifestyle never slowed down. His body simply couldn't keep up. On March 8, 1973, he died at 27 from gastrointestinal hemorrhage caused by chronic alcohol-related damage. His case is an example of gradual decline rather than sudden tragedy, highlighting another dimension of the 27 Club: sustained physical deterioration under constant industry pressures. Forensic analysis shows a pattern of excessive lifestyle, health neglect, and touring strain. McKernan's story reminds us that the hidden costs of fame often unfold slowly, but the impact is no less devastating. A slow decline instead of a sudden end, but the result was the same: another star taken at 27. A slow decline from years of excess. That was Pigpen's story. But the next case is different, sudden, suspicious, and shrouded in mystery. While Pigpen's body gave out after years of wear, Brian Jones was at the peak of his creative power when he was found dead in a swimming pool. The official ruling? Accidental drowning. But decades later, questions remain. Let's go back to 1969, to Cotchford Farm, where the Rolling Stones founder met his end under circumstances that still don't add up. He was best known for founding one of the most iconic rock bands in history, the Rolling Stones. A talented musician and visionary during the golden age of rock, Brian Jones shaped the band's early sound and identity. Multi-instrumentalist, innovator, and creative force. He even gave the band its name. But behind the scenes, his life was unraveling. His relationship with the band was fracturing. Substance abuse was taking its toll. By 1969, he had been pushed out of the group he created. Little did he know, his life was about to come to a tragic end at just 27 years old. On July 3, 1969, everything changed. Brian Jones was found dead in a swimming pool at Cochford Farm, the former estate of Winnie the Pooh author A.A. Milne. The official ruling? Death by misadventure. A drowning after a night of drinking and drug use. But the untold story is far more disturbing. Years later, builder Frank Thorogood reportedly confessed on his deathbed that he was paid to kill Jones. He had been working on the property and allegedly argued with Jones that same night. Witnesses claimed threats were made. New evidence points toward a possible cover-up. The attending physician never filed a proper report. The ambulance response was delayed. Jones's girlfriend, Anna Wolin, later stated he was still alive when paramedics arrived and may have been saved. A forensic analysis of the scene reveals inconsistencies that continue to fuel this cold case. What really happened to Brian Jones? A tragic accident or a calculated hit? Brian Jones' death marked the beginning of the 27 Club mystery, the first chilling sign that something wasn't right. A music legend and cultural icon, Jimi Hendrix is widely regarded as the greatest guitarist of all time. During the golden age of the late 1960s, he revolutionized music. From Monterey Pop to Woodstock, his performances became the stuff of legend. Albums like Are You Experienced?, Axis, Bold as Love, and Electric Ladyland changed rock forever. By 1970, he was exhausted. The pressure, the fame, the relentless touring, it was all catching up. He was already being called the most gifted instrumentalist of his generation. Little did he know, his life would soon be cut short. On September 18, 1970, at age 27, tragedy struck. He was found unresponsive in a London flat at the Samarkand Hotel. He had been with his girlfriend, Monica Danneman, who claimed she believed he was simply asleep. He was 27 years old. The official cause? Barbiturate-related asphyxiation. He had taken 9 sleeping pills, far beyond the recommended dose. But inconsistencies quickly emerged. Danneman's story changed multiple times. The ambulance was reportedly delayed. Some believe Hendrix was still alive when help arrived. Others suspect he may have been forced to ingest the pills. A forensic analysis of his final hours reveals a web of unanswered questions and dark secrets. What happened to Jimi Hendrix that night? Was this an accident? Or something more sinister? To this day, his death remains one of the most debated, unsolved mysteries in music history. A talented artist and music legend, Janis Joplin was known for her raw emotion, powerhouse vocals, and unforgettable presence. She rose from San Francisco's underground scene to global fame with Big Brother and the Holding Company. Her performances at Monterey Pop and Woodstock defined a generation. By 1970, she was at the peak of her career, recording her masterpiece, Pearl. She had just completed vocals for Me and Bobby McGee, a song that would later reach #1. But behind the image was a deeper struggle. Addiction, loneliness, and the pressures of fame followed her for years. Little did she know, her life would come to an untimely end. On October 4, 1970, her life was cut short. Just weeks after Hendrix, she was found dead in room 105 of the Landmark Motor Hotel in Los Angeles. She was 27 years old. The official cause? A drug overdose. But hidden evidence suggests something more troubling. A lethal batch of drugs circulating at the time, linked to multiple deaths that same week. A forensic analysis of her final hours challenges the party girl narrative, revealing a woman at her creative peak, silenced too soon. Her death remains one of the most heartbreaking tragedies in music history. A music legend, poet, and frontman of The Doors, Jim Morrison became a symbol of rebellion and artistic freedom. Known as the Lizard King, his presence was magnetic, his lyrics poetic, and his performances unforgettable. By 1971, fame had become suffocating. He moved to Paris seeking escape and a fresh start. Little did he know, his story would end in mystery. On July 3, 1971, everything changed. He was found dead in a Paris bathtub. No autopsy was performed. No official investigation followed. He was buried quickly, before the world even processed his death. He was 27 years old. The official cause? Heart failure. But the lack of evidence only deepened the mystery. Some claim he overdosed in a nightclub and was moved. Others believe he staged his death to escape fame. A forensic analysis of the Paris mystery reveals a case defined by absence. No autopsy, no answers, no closure. What really happened to Jim Morrison? The mystery only strengthened the legend of the 27 Club. A talented musician and blues pioneer, Alan Wilson co-founded Canned Heat and helped bring Delta blues to a new generation. A musical genius and historian, he was the voice behind Going Up the Country, one of Woodstock's defining songs. By 1970, his band was at its peak. Little did he know, his life would come to a tragic end. On September 3, 1970, he was found dead in a wooded area in Topanga Canyon, California. He was 27 years old. The cause? A barbiturate overdose. His death came just weeks before Hendrix, yet his story is often overlooked. A forensic analysis reveals a deeply sensitive artist struggling with fame, pressure, and mental health. He remains a hidden figure in the 27 Club, a pioneer whose untold story deserves recognition. Kurt Cobain, frontman of Nirvana, wasn't just a musician. He was a global cultural phenomenon. With the release of Nevermind in 1991, he propelled grunge and alternative rock into the mainstream, forever altering the music industry. Smells Like Teen Spirit became more than a song. It was a revolutionary anthem, a rallying cry for a generation disillusioned by conformity and corporate culture. Cobain's raw talent, haunting lyrics, and visible anguish made him the face of Generation X. His influence extended far beyond music, shaping fashion, youth identity, and the very attitude of a generation. Yet behind the fame lurked a dangerous undercurrent. Cobain privately wrestled with chronic physical pain, drug addiction, deepening depression, and the unrelenting pressure of superstardom. The very industry that celebrated him also exploited him. His struggles were documented yet often sensationalized. On April 5, 1994, tragedy struck. Cobain was found dead in his Seattle home from a shotgun wound. He was 27 years old. Official ruling: he took his own life. But forensic evidence raises questions that remain unresolved to this day. Toxicology reports revealed extremely high levels of heroin, which many experts argue would have made it almost impossible for him to operate a firearm. The infamous suicide note has been dissected repeatedly, part heartfelt farewell, part cryptic commentary on fame, identity, and disillusionment with the music industry. Some forensic analysts even suggest it may have been written days earlier, complicating the timeline of events. Decades later, investigators, journalists, and fans still debate the circumstances. Conflicting witness statements, inconsistent timelines, and unexplained gaps in the official investigation fuel ongoing speculation. What really happened to Kurt Cobain? Did he take his own life? Was it a tragic convergence of fame, addiction, and unseen pressures? Or something more sinister? His death remains one of the most discussed, controversial, and haunting cases in music history, and a defining mystery of the 27 Club. Amy Winehouse, with her timeless voice, unique style, and fearless vulnerability, redefined modern soul music. Her album, Back to Black, wasn't just a commercial success. It was a cultural phenomenon, earning critical acclaim, multiple awards, and spawning hits like Rehab, Back to Black, and You Know I'm No Good. Her voice drew comparisons to legendary vocalists, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, and Sarah Vaughan, but she brought a raw, modern edge that resonated with millions. Amy's music told stories of love, heartbreak, and personal struggle, a mirror into her life that was brutally public. Yet her brilliance came with immense pressures. Amy battled addiction, mental health challenges, and relentless media scrutiny, all under a global microscope. Every misstep was sensationalized, every relapse scrutinized, creating an environment of constant psychological strain. On July 23, 2011, Amy was found dead in her London home. She was 27 years old. Official cause: acute alcohol poisoning. While she had achieved periods of sobriety, her final days were complex. Friends and family gave conflicting accounts. Some said she seemed stable, others reported warning signs of relapse that were overlooked. Forensic analyses highlight the systemic pressures of fame, media intrusion, and industry negligence, all contributing to a situation in which tragedy became almost inevitable. What really happened to Amy Winehouse? Was her death simply an accident, or was it the tragic result of an industry and media system that failed to protect one of its brightest stars? Her story remains one of the most heartbreaking and instructive lessons about celebrity vulnerability and the dark side of fame. Kristen Pfaff, bassist for Hole, was a gifted musician whose talent rivaled her more famous peers. With the critically acclaimed album Live Through This, she helped define the grunge era alongside Courtney Love and the rest of the Seattle music scene. Unlike many in the grunge movement, Kristen was formally trained in music, disciplined, intelligent, and deeply committed to her craft. Her trajectory promised longevity, a career beyond the chaos of grunge's destructive culture. Yet fame bore a heavy weight. She had recently completed a stint in rehab and was reportedly planning to leave Seattle, seeking distance from the environment that had contributed to her struggles. On June 16, 1994, Kristen's life was tragically cut short. She was found dead in her Seattle apartment at 27 years old. Official cause: heroin overdose. Her death, coming just months after Kurt Cobain, marked a particularly dark moment for the Seattle music community. Friends and colleagues later revealed that Kristen had planned to move away, suggesting that external pressures, the chaotic grunge environment, addiction, and industry expectations may have played a role. A forensic review of her case paints a complex portrait of a young artist navigating fame, addiction, and personal survival. Was her death inevitable, or could intervention have saved her life? Kristen Pfaff's story remains one of the most overlooked yet essential chapters of the 27 Club narrative. Mia Zapata, lead singer of the Gits, was a punk rock icon whose raw voice, fearless presence, and uncompromising energy made her a rising star in the early 1990s underground scene. The Gits were gaining traction, with a devoted fan base and growing critical acclaim. Yet her life ended violently. On July 7, 1993, Mia was found murdered in Seattle at 27 years old. Unlike other 27 Club members, Mia's death was homicide. The circumstances shocked the Seattle music community and left fans and peers in fear. Her murder remained unsolved for years, creating a climate of uncertainty and vulnerability within the scene. Eventually, DNA evidence identified a suspect nearly a decade later, leading to an arrest and conviction. But the years of uncertainty left lasting trauma for the community and reinforced the notion that fame offers no protection from violence. A forensic investigation into Mia Zapata's murder reveals the harsh realities artists face behind the stage lights, dangers that lurk beyond the world of music. Her story endures as one of the most chilling true crime cases connected to the 27 Club, a stark reminder of vulnerability, injustice, and the high cost of visibility in the entertainment world. Richey Edwards, lyricist of Manic Street Preachers, was a poet of pain, identity, and existential struggle. His words resonated with fans who saw their own battles mirrored in his dark, intellectual lyrics. Yet beneath the artistry, Richey battled depression, self-harm, and the immense pressures of fame. His struggles were well known within the music community, and he had openly confronted his own fragility. On February 1, 1995, Richey vanished without a trace. He was 27 years old. His car was discovered near the Severn Bridge, a location associated with numerous deaths, but no body was ever recovered. Legally declared deceased in 2008, his disappearance remains unresolved. Forensic analysis and investigative theories abound: him taking his own life, a possible accidental death, or a deliberate disappearance to escape fame and start anew. Sightings over the years have fueled speculation that Richey may have survived, adding layers of mystery and intrigue to one of the most haunting unsolved cases in music history. What really happened to Richey Edwards? His disappearance remains a defining mystery of the 27 Club, a story of genius, despair, and the enigmatic intersection of art and mortality. Anton Yelchin was not just a celebrity and talented American actor, he was a Hollywood prodigy. Known for his intense performances and emotional depth, he became a beloved figure in films like Star Trek and Like Crazy. Directors praised his fearlessness. Critics predicted he would become a defining actor of his generation. But with fame came fragility. Behind the charm and success, Anton's life was filled with the pressures of constant public attention, long working hours, and the relentless expectations of Hollywood's elite. On June 19, 2016, tragedy struck. Anton was found pinned by his own Jeep Grand Cherokee outside his Los Angeles home. He was 27. The official cause, blunt traumatic asphyxia, ruled an accident. Yet this was far from ordinary. Investigations revealed that the Jeep model had a history of design flaws. Drivers reported the vehicle could appear in park while still able to roll. A forensic analysis of Anton's final moments suggests he exited the car, which rolled backward, trapping him instantly. The scene highlights a chilling reality. A preventable flaw turned fatal. This case sparked lawsuits, recalls, and global conversations about corporate accountability. What really happened to Anton Yelchin? Was it an unavoidable tragedy, or a preventable design failure that cost a bright star his life? A freak accident on a Hollywood driveway. But the next case moves from the movie set to the art world, where fame came with a different kind of price. Jean-Michel Basquiat, the pressure of genius. Jean-Michel Basquiat rose from the streets of New York to international fame, transforming graffiti into high art. By his mid-20s, his work sold for hundreds of thousands, and he collaborated with Andy Warhol, becoming a symbol of creativity, rebellion, and artistic innovation. Yet Basquiat's genius came with immense pressures. Isolation, substance use, and the weight of expectation shadowed his every brushstroke. The art world demanded brilliance, and his health and mental stability suffered. On August 12, 1988, Basquiat was found dead in his Manhattan studio. He was 27. Official cause? Heroin overdose. But forensic and psychological analyses reveal a more complex narrative. After Warhol's death, Basquiat became increasingly isolated. Substance use escalated, and the intense pressure of fame compounded his vulnerability. Friends, colleagues, and art historians have debated whether intervention could have saved him. Was Basquiat's death an accident of addiction, or a preventable outcome of relentless pressure and systemic neglect? His story remains a haunting reminder of the cost of brilliance in a world that often consumes its visionaries. The art world lost a visionary, but the next tragedy wasn't an accident, it was a betrayal. And the man responsible? His own manager. Pete Ham, the industry betrayal case. Pete Ham, frontman of Badfinger, was a songwriter whose talent shaped rock music in the early 1970s. Hits like No Matter What and Day After Day earned critical acclaim. Yet behind the scenes, a different story unfolded. The band faced financial mismanagement, withheld royalties, and industry exploitation. As their creative output soared, their bank accounts dwindled, a devastating contradiction that Pete could not ignore. On April 24, 1975, Pete Ham died by suicide. He was 27. Investigations reveal a heartbreaking narrative of betrayal, lost earnings, broken contracts, and repeated exploitation by the very industry that promised fame and fortune. His suicide note reportedly referenced frustration, betrayal, and loss of control, a final cry against the machinery of the music business. Pete Ham's death remains a chilling example of the dark side of the entertainment industry, where talent meets exploitation and financial manipulation can prove fatal. Could intervention have saved him, or was the system too broken to protect its creators? A musician destroyed by industry greed. But the next case is even more heartbreaking. A child star who grew up in the spotlight, only to fade away when the cameras turned off. Jonathan Brandis, The Psychological Toll of Fame. Jonathan Brandis, a teen actor who rose to fame in the 1990s, captivated audiences with his charm and talent. From Sequest DSV to major Hollywood films, he was seen as a star in the making. But early fame carries hidden costs. Brandis faced typecasting, declining roles, and the psychological strain of transitioning from child actor to adult performer. Identity struggles, depression, and isolation quietly built a pressure cooker around him. On November 12, 2003, Brandis took his own life. He was 27. A forensic and psychological review of his life highlights the unseen toll of Hollywood fame. The transition from prodigy to overlooked actor, compounded by emotional isolation and career uncertainty. His story is emblematic of a larger truth. When early promise fades, even celebrated stars can face devastating personal crises. What really happened to Jonathan Brandis? His death remains a tragic cautionary tale about mental health, career instability, and the perils of early stardom. A teen idol who couldn't escape his past, but the next legend was different. A punk pioneer whose life ended on a lonely desert highway. D. Boone, the unpredictable tragedy of life on the road. A talented musician and founding member of the Minutemen, D. Boone was a defining figure in the American punk and alternative music scene. Known for his energetic performances, political lyrics, and innovative sound, he helped shape the direction of independent music and influenced generations of artists. The Minutemen operated outside the mainstream, yet their impact was undeniable. Little did he know, his life would end suddenly in an unexpected and devastating accident. On December 22, 1985, tragedy struck. D. Boone died in a van accident while traveling with his band. He was 27 years old. The official cause? Injuries sustained in a road accident. Unlike many other members of the 27 Club, his death was not connected to addiction or personal struggles, but to the unpredictable dangers of constant travel. A forensic analysis of the incident highlights the risks faced by touring musicians. Long hours on the road, fatigue, tight schedules, and limited safety protections. The accident was sudden, leaving no time for intervention, a stark reminder of how quickly life can change. Was this simply a tragic accident, or a reflection of the overlooked risks within the music industry lifestyle? And that is what makes the 27 Club so chilling. It is not one story. It is many. A pattern without a single cause. A mystery without a single answer. So the final question remains, is the 27 Club just coincidence? Or is it a reflection of the hidden cost of fame, a system where success and vulnerability collide? This has been the complete forensic investigation, the full series, all 20 cases. The story is complete, but the mystery remains.